Hello friend, hope you're having a banger of a day, and today I'm going to be making a cozy fall witch widower speed build in The Sims 4. That was a mouthful to say. I had this idea a little while back when I was planning on the builds I wanted to do for spooky season, and I came up with this very fall cozy idea since I know that a lot of you are in the cozy fall season, and I wanted to make it a little bit cozier for you by making this build. Before I dive into the story, please don't forget to like, comment what you guys would like to build me, well, what you guys would like to see me build next, and please don't forget to subscribe. And let's dive into this video whilst we build a really awesome community. So, as you guys can see, I'm currently building this 3-story home. It wasn't supposed to be this big at first, but I just loved the fact that the home was coming out, well, the way it was coming out. And when I was inspired, I just love it, and I just let it take me. I started with the idea of having one of the areas have a rounded corner so that I could play around with the rounded roofing for the first time. Well, I think it's the first time I play around with this. And found myself thinking of making a small tower and turning it into a little reading nook, and also added a balcony to it since I wanted this house to have, you know, more of a welcome home kind of vibe to it. But let me tell you a little bit about the story and the sim that lives here. I started thinking that the sim that lives here, well, lives in the middle of nowhere because she wants to stay away from the world for a while. She also has recently lost another partner. Yeah, this sim is like the second time she has lost a partner, and she's beginning to think that maybe she's cursed or something. That's why she goes and lives in the middle of nowhere. The lot that I'm using for this is in the world of Windenburg, and I love the fact that this lot is small. It's a 20 by 20, and it has lots of trees surrounding it, giving it the look that I was literally looking for. And this is the reason I simply loved it so much. And the fact that it's very secluded on a little island makes everything even better. Right now, as you guys can see, I am currently getting the feel to the house and adding some windows because, you know, I had like a zillion windows and then delete like 95% of them while I am decorating the inside of this build, which for some reason this time I actually knew exactly where I wanted the windows, and I think I only changed it once. But then I went back and I left it as it was because I liked it better. I was having a rough time deciding the color of this build for the simple fact that I wanted it to have 2 different colors, like the little space in the bottom. I wanted it to, like the first floor, I wanted it to be a darker color, and the bigger part of the house, I wanted it to be a lighter color, and the sides of the house, both in the back where I do place the living area and where the balcony is with the little tower, I wanted it to also be a darker color. So I wasn't vibing with this color that I currently put because I really wanted to have a very dark color in it, and I changed it up later on with that simple vibe of just adding a darker color. Here I'm changing the roofing on the other side, and I'm placing this lot like a little bit further, just moving the house a little bit further. I do that a couple of times because I didn't in the beginning want to add like more of a space in the backyard. I wasn't really going to build the backyard, but then I decided that it would be appropriate to have a backyard, especially for her being like a witch. And even though I do not have Realm of Magic, I just came up with this idea. So if you guys have Realm of Magic, please feel free to add the cauldron and all those cute little potions that I know that Realm of Magic has to this build for your liking. Here I'm finally adding the colors that I end up with to the house. I do make the brick darker, which literally gives me the vibe that I was going for, and I start coming in with the ideas of adding all the trees, and I'm kind of looking for some trees that give me the vibes that I was looking for this house, especially very autumny vibes. I wanted it to literally have a very cozy vibe as well, so I started getting all of these trees. And I love the fact that the trees in this game, especially the background trees, they already have most of the colors that I want, even though my game was unfortunately in winter, because this is also a world that I use for my other Sims, and the world is currently in winter, so I literally just had to go into build by mode and build it without any of the actual world sets in there, so this is why it still looks a bit less autumny than it should be. But either way, I made it, like I said, I made it very very autumny vibed with the trees, with the orange leaves, and when I start landscaping soon, I literally go out there. I think I took like 3 hours maybe to landscape, because I was really vibing with this entire build, especially making the house very cluttered. And I thank heavens that Cottage Living expansion pack is around, because it came in handy so much for me to literally get the vibes that I wanted, especially the house. I wanted the plants to give out the vibes that it is being taken, like this house has been here for so long and she has been here for so long that it's been taken by the force is just taking it back. This current tree, the red tree, I don't end up using it because I didn't really like the contrast that it was giving with the rest of the house, especially since I go for more orangey tones with the trees, and I think the red was kind of too harsh for what I wanted it. And as you guys can see, I'm just landscaping a little bit, and I also start adding a couple of the plants also on top of the house to give it the vibe that I wanted, which is simply the house is being taken over by the plants. This is something that I really enjoyed doing. It took me a while to figure out how I was going to get all of this up on the roof, what I was going to use to make this house look not only lived in, but giving the impression that it's literally being taken over by the plants. And like I said, Cottage Living came so much in handy, especially with all those little vines that it has. I forgot what it's called in the game, but I just love the fact that I could just add them to the house, and it really just gave the aesthetic and the feeling that I wanted. I do end up cutting a little bit of the landscaping. Like, you could see that I went into another area because, like I said, this took me around 3 hours to make, because I really wanted to get all of the landscaping, all of the plants that I wanted around the house, and I just stuck with the better parts for you guys to see and enjoy. Right now I'm doing the front of the house, and I loved making this front of the house. I do end up adding the wishing well later on in the build because I thought it would be a very appropriate? Yes. I don't think I said that properly the first time. I thought of being very appropriate for this build, especially because the vibes I wanted, and also because of the story, because she's a witch. So I kind of like to think that she has like this wishing well, and I know that you can make wishes into it, and you can literally get thing. You could become rich, or you could ask for to be, I think it's, you can ask for it to be immortal, like live forever or something, and it turns you into a ghost, something like that. And I loved that so much. And you can also ask for a child and love, that also. But you can also go very, very wrong as well. So I really love that idea, and I do end up adding it later on. This entire build has been tested, so you guys can just put it on the lot and play. It's okay. Here I'm on the backyard, and I'm just making it a little bit more lived in, and I decided to add this little table because I thought that maybe she also has like other witchy friends, and they kind of get together a couple of days or maybe like a couple of weeks, like in the month, and they do seances. I know that the minute I get the supernatural stuff pack, I am definitely going to build another amazing build, and I'm definitely going to use that table because I know you can have seances in that game. So that is going to be the perfect moment for me, but I am going with my imagination with what I have, and just being grateful to be able to build this for you guys. Here I do get back into the front yard because I found these little leaves, and they were perfect because they were literally autumn vibe, and I kind of placed them around, added them on top of the balcony to make it look like the tree, like the leaves of the trees were falling down. I do end up changing this little balcony area later. I added another carpet, and I only added 3 chairs. Here you guys are going to see that later on when I get into the build in the house, I decide that I don't want her room to go into the balcony because I don't really want other Sims going into her bedroom, and I kind of changed that over. But I kind of keep the 3 chairs later on off build. When you guys see the screenshots, you will see that I did it off the build, so everything is okay and play tested. Right now, I got into the build, and I went with this little green color that I love, with this turquoise blue that is so pretty for the hallways, and I kind of made like each room an individual color because I think that she would definitely get like a very individual color, making it a little bit crazy. I also got I forgot the name of the pack now that this carpet is from. Oh, I don't remember at the moment. I remember it later, but I got a new pack from The Sims, and I was really inspired to use the rug because it actually had, oh, wait. Yeah, I remember it now. The Modern Luxe kit. That was the pack that carpet is from, and so are these cushions that I'm using on this window, which just made everything like chef's kiss. So I decided to use the Modern Luxe kit carpet. I also changed the television later on. I do give it, I use the Modern Luxe television that comes in, that it looks like a painting. I thought that was superb. I really love that idea that it's a TV, but like when you're not using it, it just looks like a painting. That was just superb, and I just had to put it there because it literally made the house have like a completely different vibe. Yes, I know that I placed 2 record players in this room. I didn't really notice at the moment. I was just so in the vibe of making this house and finally getting into literally starting to decorate that I didn't even pay attention to that. I do use some of the portraits that they get, like the paintings. I used the shoe because I thought it gave it a little bit of a better vibe that I was going for, and I actually went in with a lot of paintings, especially from the vampires expansion. Well, not the expansion pack, it's actually a pack. It should have been an expansion pack, but whatever. the pack that I also added most of their portraits because they had a lot of portraits, especially with couples, and there were a lot of family portraits. So I kind of love to imagine that those are the pictures, like the pictures of her and both of her spouses that have passed away. So like as I said, she lost 2 of her partners, and she's just living alone for now because she doesn't really want to get involved with anyone because she's scared of losing someone else if she falls in love again. And I just wanted to make it look like she still keeps the pictures of all of them because they were very special for her and she just wants to always remember them. I do end up adding 2 urns in the office. I know I shouldn't have added into the office, but I didn't really have another place to put it, and I wanted it to be like something special, something that she would literally think about every day because she literally lives here thinking that it's her fault that all of this happened. So I wanted to give that vibe of her thinking that. So now I'm getting into the office. You guys can see I'm very excited because I really love this build. I do end up taking the little cat tree out because I didn't really know if I was going to give her a pet. I wanted to give her a pet. It would be better if I did give her a pet. But I kind of ended up changing my mind a little bit, and I decided that maybe on like playing around with her and her like finally getting over the loss and the mourning period of a loved one, she decides to adopt a cat and she becomes a little bit more social. I do end up adding the Frieza Bony that we got in the rewards, the Reaper's rewards, so I do added that as well. And I wanted to add like this little stool that we get in the spa day where you can meditate, but it was going to take so much space in the office that I just decided just to add a logic table, like a little chess table for them to build up their logic, because it's just simpler. Normally when I make the offices, I decide to add things that are going to help with skills, especially if I have the sim skill in my head at the moment. So I just love doing that. And I also decided to add those little curtains that we get from I think it's the In Bloom kit that we can add to the offices, and it makes it look like we have some plants growing in the house as well. Now I am in the kitchen, and I had fun making this kitchen because it was really big. Like most of the house is a bit small. Well, I don't think it's small. I think it's pretty big. But I still decided to add that, and you do see I add that little bin we got from, I think it was Login Rewards that they did, and I added into this pink pastel-y vibe, which I loved so much. And you guys know I really love these little bins where they give you back your money, and you just have to have those, especially if you're playing a legacy challenge. Please add those into your build. You're gonna see how much money you get, especially the more sims you have and the more you use it. Like the more sims you have, the more money it gives you back. So have it, just use it, be happy. There's a little tip for you guys. But I am cluttering up the kitchen, and I literally went for a little different vibe. I do my little favorite thing, which is always placing a little, let's say a little cloth, a little drying cloth there, here and there, especially in the kitchen. And normally, as I said in my last build, I kind of figured out how to do that a little better. I know I still have some old builds that I still have to put in that I don't use this trick because I found that out later on as I was playing. Just remove it, add it where you want to, especially if it goes straight to a wall, and then place the wall back and move the counter back. That will help you so much, and I just loved it. I really love the vibes that I did for this kitchen as well. It was really fun, and I can actually see myself like in a kitchen like that doing things. here I am in that corner that I told you in the beginning of the video where I wanted to make like a little nook, a little place where the sim can just sit down and read. I do end up removing, when I start decorating the bedroom, I do end up removing the glass door, and I ended up adding another door in the little corner over there, which it's functional, which leads into the balcony, because I thought it would be better if the sim could just read in the nook, and then if they wanted or had people over, they could just go to the outside and just sit in the balcony if they didn't want to stay like in the backyard. Though the backyard is one of my favorite areas, especially because of the little table that I added. I could literally just see them with their little hats and, you know, just literally doing the seance. It just, I really got so excited building this. You can see the little tree I'm talking about. And I also added more of those little leaves that you get from the seasons pack, and I just started adding this. I just love seasons so much for those little details. Here I'm decorating the bathroom. So this bathroom gave me a little bit of a headache because one, I did not know how I was going to decorate it. At first I was just going to give her a tub, but then I changed my mind, and I've been doing this in some of my builds where I just separate the toilet from like the rest of the bathroom. I just add like a little wall to separate it, because sometimes, especially if you live with other Sims that you have no relations to, it kind of gets a little bit annoying because they get embarrassed if they see someone else like taking a shower or maybe even in the bathroom, and I didn't really want that. So especially if they don't have like intimacy with each other, they're just like friends or something like that, so that could happen. So for the sake of them being able to go to the loo without being embarrassed, I normally like to add like this little wall so they don't die of embarrassment. And that's technically how I wanted it to roll. I did have that problem with the roof clipping, but I didn't really want to change the roofing because I had so many things on top of that roof, and I knew it was going to give me a headache if I tried to undo it. So I decided to not level up that bathroom floor and just add a little bit of the other things that were already there and just leave it the way it was. Now I'm into her bedroom. I did use the bed that we got with the Modern Luxe kit because I thought it does kind of suit the vibes, especially because I love to think that she is loaded. Like, both make it of what we guys use your imaginations technically. But I like to think that she's loaded, as I said. And she inherited so much money from both of her spouses that she just wanted to live in luxury for a while, even if she's just living in luxury in the middle of the woods. So her bedroom is super decorated. It has everything she wants in it. And the one thing, especially, that's why I also used the Modern Luxe dresser. I thought it had little pastel-y aesthetic that I wanted, and I added in the bed, which I loved, and it looked so good with the carpet that we get from the Dream Home Decorator. So that really had a lot to say, and I just went in decorating it. I did throw a lot of books everywhere. I added a lot of candles also to the house to make it have a little witchy vibe to it, you know, a lot of candles. It could be like essence candles, but I just wanted to have that there. And now we're in the last room of this house, which I wanted it to be a little flower arrangement room. I kind of like to think that the Sims hobby is to arrange flowers, and she kind of pretends that she makes a living out of arranging flowers, and that's technically what she does in this room. She has a lot of plants. She also plants a lot of flowers around the house, so she has this entire vibe. I also definitely see her making a lot of death flowers. So if you guys are doing the login challenges that EA has right now, like the Sims team has for us, I think this house could also be a really good vibe for it. And yeah, this is it. I will leave you guys with the screenshots. I hope you guys enjoy this, and I will see you guys next week for more. Have a great day, week, year, month. I forgot month. Have a great month too. And I will see you guys next week for another video. Bye guys!